I'm Evan Miracle, and thank you for tuning in to Swamp Stories. Today we are joined by Andrew Lyle.
Hello.
Alright, today we are going to talk about, video games.
As one does.
Yeah. So tell me, what video game do you think we should talk about today?
That's a good question.
Indeed it is. Should we go with something that has, connections to prior myths and different cultures?
Ooh, an interesting idea. I think the connection between a lot of game developers and a bunch of real-world things and mythology, but having all this together really creates some interesting creative opportunities and some creative freedom. Let's just say some like to take some liberties.
Indeed. Could you give me an example of one where a creative liberty is taken?
I think there is this very interesting game made by a Finnish developer that happens to be in the boomer shooter genre. A lovely name, really, Ultra Kill, and it's adaptation of many older Greek myths along with the entirety of the Bible and a certain 15th century novel also pertaining to it.
I don't think I remember the novel that you're talking about there.
It would happen to be Dante's Inferno
Oh yeah, that one.
and the Rings
Gotta
of
love
Hell.
that one.
Very clear inspiration, but it's interesting liberties on location and its interpretations of the concepts can be really interesting at times.
Yeah, they are. I heard that a different video game used that one. I think you probably heard of it. It's Devil May Cry 5. They took many liberties from that, including the main character and general main villains' names being Dante and Virgil.
And it's very interesting to see the effects things like that have had on, I guess, media in general, because you find references to it all the time. And I think having games like that take such interesting perspectives on it is, I almost say, a really special things video games seem to do.
Yeah.
That is not seen as much in more conventional media.
That is very true. Very true. Yeah, there's another video game, though. Doom. Everyone's heard of that. It spawned an entire subgenre of first-person shooter games.
Oh yeah, absolutely influential in everything.
Yeah, and has relation to prior cultures and myths and with biblical stories as it happens to have.
And it definitely is a bit more of an open approach to the concept.
Yeah.
But I mean, what could be more holy than smiting demons?
Yep. Indeed. There's more media forms of prior cultures being related to it, such as currently a lot of anime have prior relation to different media, such as the Netflix original anime known as Record of Ragnarok, which takes all cultures, almost all cultures and myths, and just drops them into a battle arena and has them fight to the death versus humans.
Oh, well, I don't have much experience with that in particular. I have heard of it, and it seems like a very wild concept to use for any sort of series. I mean, I think a lot of times when media just decide, screw it, let's mix all this stuff together, that's when a lot of very interesting concepts end up coming.
Yeah. Another anime that has relation to prior cultures and media is Dragon Ball. Now, I'm pretty sure almost everyone knows of this one.
Yeah, I mean, you at least heard of it or seen it around. I think it's basically a requirement of anyone in, Central America to have watched it in its entirety because
Yeah.
it's just that big in some places.
Yeah, even people who don't generally watch anime have watched Dragon Ball, and the main character is based off of Sun Wukong, who is from a culture.
I believe it is Chinese mythology.
Yeah, believe it's from Chinese mythos. It's from Journey to the West. It was a 16th century Chinese novel. Sun Wukong is from a 16th century Chinese novel and is currently still being used in media today.
It's also a very interesting effect that people have assumed it's much older than it is, purely because it's been that influential all across the world that it seems like something as like set in stone as like even like Jesus or something, but it's surprising how modern the idea of this character is, but how gripping it's been on a lot of media.
Yeah, that was only like roughly 400 years ago for that, in the book Journey to the West with Sun Wukong. Alright, so before we go, I have one question for you. Would you rather have unlimited bacon but no games, or games, and more games?
I mean, one can keep me fed, but one can keep me going.
Indeed. Well, you've been listening to Swamp Stories. Please tune in next week for the next episode.